I saw Linda Parker at the grocery store today. She told me Dylan is back home to run the family auto shop while his brother Nathan recovers from his accident. Patricia Williams told her daughter Emily, Linda said suddenly, determined to shove the can of peas as deep into the pantry as possible. Yes, Dylan. You remember him, don't you? He's your husband, or ex-husband. I'm not sure which description is more accurate. Is he still your husband, Mom? You know I don't like to talk about my problems with Dylan, Emily replied reluctantly. I don't know if we are still married or not. I've never received any official papers or notices of divorce. You've never filed for divorce, have you? Patricia persisted. No, I haven't, Emily replied, studying her shoes. He's the one who left. I thought he was going to. Your situation is the strangest I've ever seen, Patricia declared. He left 6 years ago. In all that time, he's never called, emailed, or even written a letter. You can't still love him after all he's done to you? Or can you? Emily lowered her eyes again but answered nothing. Oh, honey, her mother exclaimed. Don't tell me you're one of those women who accept abandonment and even think you deserve it. He abandoned you. It's his fault, Emily. A man who leaves his wife without explanation deserves no consideration. Since he's in town, divorce him. He was a great guy when you married him. In fact, he was great right up until the day he left. I liked him. He seemed responsible, considerate, hardworking, and devoted to you. And suddenly he's gone. You're still young. You need to find a good man you can rely on and create a good family. I make my own decisions, Mom. I'm 27 years old. I have a good job and I live in my own house. I'm not a burden to you and Dad, so I would appreciate it if you would stop running my life, Emily replied. I just want you to be happy, honey. I don't think you've been happy since the day Dylan left. If he loved you even a little bit, he would never have left you the way he did. He must have had a girlfriend. No, Dylan would never cheat. He's not like that, was Emily's immediate response. Emily's quick and decisive response surprised her mother. Her daughter was still defending the man who had packed up and abandoned her in the middle of the night. How could she? Why would she? Emily claimed that they hadn't quarreled before Dylan had left, but she never told her what could have caused such an abrupt break in their relationship. Patricia was sure that Emily wasn't telling the whole truth, and it was unlikely she ever would. Emily Rodriguez did not sleep well that night. She tossed and turned, trying to get comfortable, but sleep wouldn't come. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Dylan in front of her. He was the most handsome man she had ever known. He was fun and calm and devoted to her. At least he had been before she'd ruined everything. Now he was back in Millbrook. Emily knew their paths were bound to cross someday. After all these years, she still didn't know what to say to him. And what could she say? She knew how hollow an apology would seem. There were no words to adequately describe the depth of her remorse. She had ruined their relationship. They could never be the same. Her life wasn't a fairy tale. It was real, and it was devastating. 2 days later, Emily was visiting her mother again when her younger sister Hannah, a graduate student at Ohio State University, came in after work. She was a journalism major, so she had a summer job at a local media group. I saw your husband today, Emily. He came by to place some ads. Are you interested in hearing about it? Hannah asked. If not her, then me, the girl's mother interjected. What did he look like? Well, if anyone was hoping he'd gone to pot, they'll be quite disappointed, Hannah replied with a slight chuckle. He's probably the most handsome man I've ever seen. Really? Patricia replied, furrowing her eyebrows. Can I assume he hasn't gotten fat and lost all his hair? He was wearing a work shirt and jeans. As far as I could tell, he looked completely put together. Donna was doing the announcing, and I was watching and listening from the next room. He didn't see me, Hannah added. Did you hear him say something? Emily asked quietly. Like how he was such an idiot for leaving you. No, he just gave Donna the ad and left. His daughter, on the other hand, is stunning. Hannah's mind raced as she watched her sister's reaction. Does he have a daughter? Patricia asked as Emily sat in stunned silence. That's why he left. He got some girl pregnant. You're lucky you got rid of him, Emily. I don't think many women would feel that way seeing him in that work shirt and jeans, Hannah objected. He exudes confidence. Besides, his daughter looked too old to have been born after he left Millbrook. I think she's about 12 or 13. How could he have a daughter 12 years old? He's only 28 years old now. He should have been 16 when he became a father. We know that didn't happen, Patricia reasoned as Emily remained silent. I heard him introduce the girl to Donna as his daughter. Her name is Sophia. She's gorgeous, she's very athletic, and seems to be Daddy's little girl. Did Dylan's daughter have hair as dark as his? Emily asked. She's a stunning blonde, Hannah replied, watching her sister closely. Whatever her ethnicity is, it suits her very well. Oh, I just thought of something, Hannah proclaimed. Since Dylan is her father and you're still his wife, you must be her stepmother or something. Hannah, that was just mean, Patricia scolded as Emily ran off to the bathroom. There's something weird about all of this. I have a feeling things are going to come to light very soon. Secrets don't usually last long in a small town, although this one did last 6 years. Who was that pretty girl in the other room? Sophia asked as she and Dylan left the media group's office. She couldn't take her eyes off you. Remember when I told you about how I got married years ago? It was my ex-wife's sister, Hannah. She's probably about 22 years old now. I think she was surprised to see me. Was your wife as beautiful as her sister? Sophia asked. She was even more beautiful, Dylan replied with a small smile, remembering Emily's face. She was absolutely beautiful. Sophia studied Dylan's face before he spoke. You really loved her, didn't you? Why did she cheat on you? I wouldn't have told you this if I'd known we'd be moving back to Millbrook, Dylan allowed. Please don't tell anyone about it. If she doesn't tell you herself, no one will know why we broke up. There's no reason to hurt her now. You're something. You don't want to hurt her after what she did to you? Most guys would want to make her pay, but not you. She certainly ruined a good thing, but I'm glad she did it. I don't know where I'd be or who I'd be with if you hadn't come to live with Michael and me in Cedar Rapids. Yeah, at the time he didn't think it was such a good thing, but it worked out really well for me. Now I have the best daughter in the world. It makes me feel really good to tell people you're my daughter, even though Michael was your real father. We both know he was the best guy in the world, Dylan said with a sad smile. He told me that I should call you Daddy if I felt comfortable. You're my dad now, and I love you like you're my real dad. You didn't have to accept me, but you did. I'm lucky we had different last names. It made the adoption process clearer, Sophia admitted. We were fortunate that Michael was able to give us a heads up in time to plan. He was the one who insisted we start the adoption process. If your father had testified before he died about how he wanted me to adopt you, it would have saved us a lot of red tape. I miss him a lot, but I like being your daughter. Is that okay? Sophia asked with sudden concern. That's exactly what Michael wanted, Dylan assured her. He knew he wouldn't be around to watch you grow into a beautiful and independent woman. He honored me when he asked me if I would be your father. It was an unquestionable decision. You do realize we're going to have a hard time finding a new mom for me if you're already married, Sophia remarked. Maybe we should meet Emily and ask her if she's divorced you. Let's hold off on that, Dylan cautioned. When I filled out the adoption paperwork, I indicated that I was married. Social services rarely looks favorably on single men adopting beautiful young women. Let's get you settled in school and cement our position in society. When we're sure no one will give us any trouble, we can go to Emily to get a copy of the divorce decree. Until then, we won't be looking for a new mom. Okay? Of course, Dad. I understand. I just know that all women will want to marry you. We just need to make sure we find one that's right for both you and me. Not every woman will agree to have her daughter go on dates, Sophia teased. Stop worrying about that. If a woman can't fully accept you, she won't stand a chance with me, Dylan promised. You will always be my daughter. Your children will be my grandchildren. End of discussion. Sophia rushed over to Dylan and hugged him tightly. Dylan was well aware that the loss of her mother as an infant and her father last year had caused her great distress. He had to keep reminding her that he loved her very much and would never leave her. Dylan explicitly explained to his mother what topics would be off-limits when he and Sophia moved in with her. He would help run the family auto shop and would not tolerate interference in his personal affairs. His mother, Margaret, readily agreed. Dylan was surprised at her quick agreement but decided not to say anything more on the subject. Dylan was washing up in the bathroom when he overheard Sophia talking to his mother. Grandma, we saw Emily's sister Hannah. She's very pretty. Do you think Emily is as pretty as her sister? Dylan had to strain to hear his mother's reply. He knew she was trying hard not to let him hear her. He made it clear that Emily, her family, and anything to do with Emily were off limits, honey. Emily is a beautiful woman. She was pretty when she and Dylan got married, but now she's turned into a confident, capable young woman. I don't see her very often because things aren't going well with her and Dylan, but she's always been very polite to me. If it were up to me, those two would still be together and give you brothers and sisters too. Too bad it's not up to me. I promised I wouldn't discuss this topic, so we'd better change the subject before your father hears us, Margaret concluded. Dad drove me by the new school this afternoon, Sophia informed him as Dylan entered the room and sat down at the kitchen table. Their basketball court looks like it's in great shape. I can't wait to try out for the team. I saw online that there will be tryouts next Tuesday afternoon. I didn't know you played basketball, Margaret exclaimed, but with less enthusiasm than Dylan had expected. In fact, this information seemed to worry his mom. It's my favorite sport. I was one of the best players on the travel team when we lived in Cedar Rapids. We only lost one game, boasted Sophia. She was far from the best player on the team, Dylan remarked with a chuckle. She's just being modest. Sounds great, Margaret praised, wondering if she should tell Dylan who the coach was. She stifled a chuckle at the thought of how the first practice would go and what a shock Dylan would be in for. He was the one who had insisted that no one talk about Emily. She was simply complying with his unreasonable demands, and it looked like it might backfire on him. Emily listened to the mother of one of the girls as she watched the 20-some girls dribble basketballs at each other. A tall blonde girl caught her eye. Her movements were flawless. She easily guided the ball, switching it from hand to hand, and effortlessly sank it past the girl who had been their best defender last year. As soon as she was able to gracefully escape from the small talk of the chatty mother, she approached the blonde girl and watched her more closely. Sensing her presence, the girl stopped working with the ball and turned to look into Emily's eyes. Hi, I'm the team coach, Emily began. Everyone calls me Coach or Coach Rodriguez. You seem to know a lot about basketball. When Emily spoke, the girl's jaw dropped. She scrutinized Emily from head to toe before she finally spoke. Hello, ma'am. I'm Sophia Bennett. I believe my daddy was your husband years ago. I really like basketball, but if you think I can't be treated fairly, I'll understand and try volleyball. I don't want to put you in a difficult position. By this time, all the girls had gathered closer to listen to the exchange of views. The new girl turned out to be the daughter of Mrs. Rodriguez's husband. Apparently, these two had never met before. Emily was caught off guard when the girl explained that she was Dylan's daughter. Gathering her thoughts, she realized that she should have guessed it from the description Hannah had given. The girl was very pretty and very athletic. Sophia, as you realized, this is a bit of a surprise to me. I had no idea you were Dylan's daughter. Let me assure you that your behavior on the court, diligence at practice, and ability to fit in with the team will determine your playing time. I have no reason to be unfair to you, Emily assured her. As Emily spoke, The girl scrutinized her face. She seemed to be the one to decide what their relationship would be. When Emily finished speaking, Sophia nodded her head slightly as if in acknowledgement. Grandma Thompson knew you were a coach, but she didn't say anything because of Daddy's rules. Sophia grinned. I can't wait to see his face when I tell him you're my coach. Your father isn't here, is he? Emily asked quickly, looking around the court. No, he's working on engines this afternoon, Sophia replied. He's been helping Uncle Nathan since the accident, but he was right about you. Sophia turned and started to walk away when Emily called her name. Sophia turned to face her again, but she moved closer and spoke softly in her ear. What do you mean he was right about me? What did he say about me? Emily waited with dread for the girl's answer. It had been years since she had seen Dylan or heard of him. She lacked information about him. If he still hated her, she'd better find out right away. Well, Coach? Sophia whispered so only Emily could hear. Daddy says you're the prettiest cheating woman he's ever seen. Emily reacted as if the blonde had struck her in the face. She gasped, fell to her knees, and burst into tears. Sophia expected to see contempt, anger, embarrassment, or a combination of those emotions. Seeing how her words devastated the woman, Sophia rethought the entire situation. She'd hated Emily Rodriguez ever since she'd first heard the story of how she cheated on Dylan. In doing so, Emily had nearly destroyed him. Sophia decided that if she ever got the chance, she'd tell that woman everything she thought of her. Emily Rodriguez somehow didn't fit into the picture that Sophia had created. She seemed to be loved and respected by the other girls. Sophia had noticed how popular the coach had been within minutes of her arrival. Now the woman was showing real desperation over the words Sophia had said. Those were the very words she had promised herself she would use if she ever met the woman who had caused Dylan such pain. Sophia took no pleasure in her revenge. She walked slowly to the bench to sit on it and wait for her inevitable dismissal. What did you say to Coach Rodriguez? Demanded the woman who Sophia guessed was the team's assistant coach, who had arrived late. She flipped through the list of names on her clipboard. What's your name? I'm Sophia Bennett. I'm sorry if I caused a problem, Sophia apologized. Bennett? Repeated the stunned woman. Are you related to Dylan Carter? He's my father, Sophia stated with what she hoped looked like pride. I think you'd better leave, the woman advised. Coach Rodriguez is a wonderful woman. She doesn't need to be reminded every day on the basketball court about her situation with her husband. Sophia just nodded and turned toward the gate. She was about to leave the court when she felt a hand on her shoulder. Sophia turned around in surprise and found herself in the arms of a sobbing Emily Rodriguez. I'm so sorry, was all the woman could repeat as she held Sophia close. Not knowing how to react, Sophia simply remained motionless, while Emily gradually regained control of her emotions. Eventually her sobbing stopped, and the other girls gathered around again and watched, mesmerized. Your father is a fine man. Please stay and join the team, Emily instructed. If you are like Dylan, you will be a great addition. I promise I won't show so much emotion towards you again. Come back, please. Sophia found Coach Rodriguez leading her back to the bench. When they reached the bench, Emily turned her around to face the other girls. It's useless to deny that I practically broke down a few minutes ago. I want you to understand why. This is Sophia Bennett. Her father is my ex-husband. Her sudden appearance has shaken me deeply. I hadn't seen her father in 6 years, and even though I knew he was back in Millbrook, I was still surprised to find Sophia here today. I want you all to treat Sophia kindly. She's not to blame for all this drama. It would be wrong to blame her. Looking directly at Sophia, Emily asked the question she dreaded the answer to. Is your mom around here somewhere? I'd like to meet her and compliment her on what a wonderful daughter she has. Mom died when I was 3, Sophia answered with some sadness. It was just me and Daddy left. I apologize for being rude before. Daddy is probably upset with me for being for being rude. I'm sorry, Coach Rodriguez. Emily's head was spinning as she pondered Sophia's words. Her mother had died when she was 3 years old. How is that possible? It had been about 10 years ago. Dylan was still in high school then. She decided that was a mystery for another time. We started off on the wrong foot, Emily replied. Let's start over. I'm Coach Rodriguez, and you're Sophia. Let me tell everyone the rules and expectations of the team, and then we'll start practice. After practice was over, Sophia climbed into her grandmother's SUV to drive home. How was your first practice, honey? It went pretty well, Sophia stated. All the girls have been good to me, and some of them are pretty good players. I think we're going to have a good team. Very nice, Margaret replied, and then asked about the coach. How did you like the coach? I heard she was very nice. Why don't you just ask what you really want to know, Grandma? Sophia replied with a smile. Good. How did you get along with Emily? Was she surprised when she found out who you were? Margaret asked. Did you like her? Well, she's kinder than I thought. She's still very worried about Daddy, and it's been 6 years. Dylan never told anyone why he left her. I don't know how much he told you, but they were a beautiful young couple. They seemed to love each other very much. Then one night Dylan got in his truck and drove away, Margaret recalled. I don't think he ever spoke to Emily again. I heard she didn't know why Dylan left. She can't blame it on Daddy, exclaimed Sophia furiously. She knows exactly why Daddy left. She drove him away. He's not the bad guy in this case. Okay. I think Dylan already talked to you about that, Margaret reasoned. I'm glad to hear that Dylan didn't run away from Emily for no reason. Can you tell me why he left? Only Dad or Coach can explain it to you. I promised my dad I wouldn't tell anyone, Sophia replied. When Dylan got home, dinner was waiting for him. After he cleaned himself up, he sat down at the table and, slicing a pork chop, asked Sophia how her basketball practice had gone. It didn't start out very smoothly, Sophia admitted as she watched Margaret. Coach looked upset when I told her my name. We talked for a while. Eventually it smoothed out. Dylan noticed his mother's expression as Sophia briefly described her day. He knew it was a sure sign that there was more to the story. Your coach is a friend of Emily's. I should have considered that possibility. Do you think you'll get a fair evaluation? Emily Rodriguez is my coach, Dad. Dylan was speechless for a full minute as his brain tried to comprehend the implications of Sophia's statement. He realized that he had made a mistake in not learning more about Emily's current situation. Dylan's mother smiled broadly as Dylan turned to look at her. She could still read her son's face and knew what conclusion he'd come to. Mom, can you tell Sophia and me more about Emily? It looks like we're going to have to talk to her regularly, Dylan admitted reluctantly. It's very nice of you to ask at last. Emily is a math teacher at Millbrook High School. She has been coaching basketball for 3 years. Last year they only lost 2 games. She is still single or married to you depending on which rumors you prefer to believe. The general consensus is that her husband ran off one dark and stormy night, probably because he had a girlfriend on the side. That's not true. Daddy never cheated, Sophia protested. Sophia, what did I tell you about that kind of talk? Dylan interrupted. I expect you to speak and act respectfully when you're around Emily. Please don't do anything that I would have to apologize to her for, Dylan insisted. That would be embarrassing, to say the least. Dylan noticed how red Sophia's face turned as she quickly lowered her gaze to her plate. He took a deep breath before he spoke. What did you do, Sophia? How bad was it? I may have called her a bad name, but I apologized to her, Sophia added immediately. I think we're okay now. She treated me the same way she treated the other girls during practice. What exactly did you say? Dylan asked, cursing himself for telling Sophia the reason for his failed marriage. I have to whisper this to you. Grandma mustn't hear it. I know it was wrong, but it just came out. I'm sorry, Daddy. Sophia stood up, walked over to Dylan, and whispered in her ear. Margaret couldn't hear what the girl said to Dylan, but it was clear from his reaction that he wasn't happy. Sophia, I told you something in confidence, and you couldn't keep it a secret? Dylan complained, trying to contain his irritation. That puts me in a very uncomfortable position. I expect you to learn a lesson from that mistake. I regretted it as soon as I said it, Sophia replied, crushed. It hurt a lot more than I expected, Sophia admitted. I forgot to tell you that she told the girls you were her ex-husband. Now we can find you a new wife. Emily was at loose ends. She struggled to act normal so she could make it through the team's training session. She was glad she lived alone as she sat in her favorite chair and cried for hours. School was still 2 weeks away, but practice for fall sports had already started. Even though she didn't have to get up early to teach lessons, she still had to get ready for basketball practice. As she drove to school the next day, she told herself that this day would be much easier. Yesterday's drama wouldn't happen again. Then she almost collided with Dylan Carter as she rushed to the back of her SUV to remove her team gear. Hi, Emily. Do you have a moment? I'd like to apologize to you. I guess, Emily replied, though the thought of Dylan having to apologize to her seemed absurd. Is there a problem? Sophia told me what she said to you yesterday. It was wrong. I tried to raise her better. It's partly my fault. I shouldn't have told her why we broke up. She and my cousin Michael are the only 2 people I told about it, Dylan assured Emily. She's young, and she wanted to hurt you. Emily couldn't help but notice how great Dylan looked in a simple cotton t-shirt and jeans. His stomach was flat, and the muscles of his chest stretched the fabric covering it. His arms were muscular and defined. His hair was longer than she remembered. She had to admit it looked good. His jaw was strong, and his smile was infectious. He looked very masculine. She didn't say anything that wasn't true. We both know that, Dylan. Unless you think I'm beautiful. That's the only thing you can argue with, Emily replied, wiping the droplets of tears from her cheeks. I don't want you to suffer now because of what happened 6 years ago, Dylan replied. It's over. We've both moved on. It's time to bury the past and look forward. Over and done with, Emily repeated. Sounds pretty simple. We'll just act like we were never in love, never married, and it should work out, Emily managed to say before tears ran down her cheeks. Dylan wanted to take Emily in his arms and hold her to his chest, but he was afraid he'd give the wrong signal. Unable to figure out how to deal with the sobbing woman, he just stood there and watched. While he waited, he had time to study his ex-wife. Her legs were tanned and strong. Emily had braided her hair into a ponytail. It allowed Dylan to see the curve of her jaw and slender neck. She was still the most beautiful woman he had ever known. Emily finally pulled herself together. She looked into Dylan's eyes and said quietly, I'm sorry, Dylan, for a lot of things. I was a damn fool when I made that mistake. I was just as stupid when I let everyone think you dumped me for no reason. I kept hoping you'd come back and forgive me. Telling people what a stupid mistake I made would only make it harder for us to reconcile. You never came back, and I never told anyone the truth. You were gone, and I was living here, so I took the easy way out. I let people blame you. I'm going to tell everyone the truth. You don't deserve the nasty comments or the scorn of people in the community. I forced you to leave. I know that a person like you can never accept my actions. You would never take me back. I wouldn't even take me back. I don't deserve forgiveness. Emily, I'm fine with everything. I didn't have any ill feelings about my leaving. I'm sure people naturally thought I was a jerk for leaving such a beautiful woman. They'd rather question my sanity than my character, remarked Dylan. You have always been a gentleman, Emily marveled, meeting his gaze. Your daughter is a delightful girl. I don't blame her for saying what she did. Please don't be too hard on her. I think she's going to be my star player. It was nice to see you and lighten the mood, Dylan replied. We'll be seeing a lot of each other with Sophia on your team. I hope we can get along without any drama. I must say you've gotten even more beautiful than you were when we got married." "Thank you, kind sir," Emily replied. "You look like you've added a few pounds, mostly in your arms and chest. I never thought of you as muscular before, but now the term fits you. Thank you for taking the time to straighten us out a bit." Dylan noticed about a dozen girls standing off to the side, watching him talk to their coach. He was distracting Emily from her duties, so he nodded and walked back to his truck to leave. "Was that Sophia's father?" exclaimed the red-haired girl, turning to her friends. "He's so handsome. My dad is balding and has a big belly. He looks much older than Mr. Carter. Why did Coach Rodriguez let him go?" wondered another girl. "My mom's looking for a new husband after her divorce. Maybe I'll tell her about Sophia's dad." During basketball season, Emily was always taking her parents out to dinner. Her mom always made dinner shortly after practice was over. The night before, her mom had excused herself to make dinner because she had bridge club, but on the second night of practice, the family got together. "How's the team doing?" her father asked, putting potatoes on his plate. "Are the girls going to perform as well as they did last year?" "Sounds like I'll have the best team," Emily decided as she pondered how much she should say about Dylan and Sophia. "Your best player is back again, isn't she, sis?" Hannah asked. "I know she had another year before she moved on to high school." "I'm sure the team has a new top player," Emily said. "You saw her the other day." "You mean Dylan's daughter? She plays basketball on your team?" "You can't make that up," Hannah added with a chuckle. "Tell us about her." "She's obviously played a lot of basketball. She's fast, athletic, and smart. Most girls like her," Emily explained. "She's also a nice girl." "Wow," Hannah exclaimed. "How did she react to you? Did she know her stepmother was her coach? What did she say?" "She was as surprised as I was when we met. I told her I was Coach Rodriguez, and she knew right away that I was married to her dad. I think we're going to get along great. She's a really nice girl." "Have you seen Dylan?" Patricia asked. "Did he have the courage to at least talk to you?" "I talked to Dylan today before practice. We worked some things out. It wasn't as awkward as I feared," Emily admitted. "What exactly did you find out?" Patricia asked. "He apologized. Not that anything he could say was a suitable explanation for leaving his wife. We had a mature conversation without throwing accusations and recriminations. Dylan was a complete gentleman," Emily admitted. "He even told me I was prettier than when we got married." "Hallelujah," Patricia intervened. "It follows that you are no longer married to him. You are free to find a husband who will treat you with love and respect." "I almost had it all, Mom," Emily managed as tears ran down her cheeks. "I didn't deserve a good husband. I didn't keep the one I had." "He's the one who got away," Emily's father remarked. "I should probably go find him and have some words with him." "I wouldn't advise trying it, Papa. He has the look of a man who can handle himself quite well." "Did he seem conflicted to you, Emily?" Hannah asked as Emily wiped away her tears. "That's an understatement. You're a big guy, Dad. I appreciate you wanting to protect me, but please don't have words with Dylan. He's different now than he was when he left. He's matured. He's obviously much stronger and more confident than he was before." It was quite obvious. "That's it?" Patricia asked. "After 6 years, he comes back to town with a blonde daughter and doesn't explain himself to the wife he left? How did you keep from slapping him in the face?" "Mom, it never occurred to her to slap the guy. She's still in love with him." "Look at her," Hannah stated. "I can't explain it, but she loves him more today than the day he left. I'm just a stupid fool." "Come on, say it," Emily sobbed. "I've ruined the best thing I ever had. I deserve to be laughed at and worse." "Hey, you're not stupid," Hannah replied, crushing her sister in a hug. "I don't know what happened between you two, but if you still love that guy, I'm on your side." I'll help in any way I can. I want to see you happy again. There's nothing anyone can do. We'll never be together. Helping me accept that it's over is the best thing you can do for me." Hannah just hugged her sister. She didn't say anything else but decided that she would talk to Dylan and find out why he had left her sister and see if they had a chance to be together again. The next morning, Dylan was just about to give orders to his men when Hannah Williams walked into the auto shop. The men knew enough about Dylan's history with her sister Emily to remain silent as Hannah approached him. "What can I do for you, Hannah?" Dylan asked in a professional tone. "I want to treat you to lunch at Murphy's today. Meet me there at noon." Dylan had no choice but to agree. He would never refuse a lady such a request in the presence of others. In fact, he had always liked Hannah, and he didn't mind having dinner with an attractive young woman. Hannah was already sitting in the booth when Dylan walked in. She stood up and hugged him tightly. "Thanks for coming, Dylan. You look great. You have become a very beautiful woman, Hannah." "It's good for my ego to be seen with you," Dylan replied calmly. "You've always been a gentleman. How about we place an order and then we can catch up?" "I have a lot of questions," Hannah admitted. "The first one is what you did to get so built up." Once they had ordered, Dylan began answering Hannah's many questions. "When I left Millbrook, I visited my father's cousin, Michael Davis. We had only met a few times, but we chatted on Facebook, and he was always friendly. Michael was 10 years older than me. His wife Caroline had died a few years earlier due to a medical complication. Sophia was 7 years old when I first met her. Unfortunately, a little over 2 years ago, her father was diagnosed with cancer. He and I had become close. He saw how I felt about Sophia, so when he found out he was dying, he decided to help me legally adopt her. It wasn't easy, but we finalized everything just before he passed away almost a year ago," Dylan sadly stated. "Oh, Dylan, that must have been a very hard experience for you. I can't imagine how Sophia handled it. I saw you in our office the other day, and she's a terrific girl. You can see that she really likes you. It amazes me that a single man was allowed to adopt a teenage girl. I've heard horror stories about how difficult these adoptions are. Between you and me, I didn't know that Emily had actually divorced me, so I indicated on the paperwork that I was married. I genuinely thought I was. Sophia is my life now. I can't imagine not having her with me. She still worries about the adoption. She knows how closely the authorities watch single men who adopt girls. She wants to help me find a wife as soon as possible, but what she really wants is a mom." Hannah knew that Emily thought Dylan had divorced her. Now Dylan was telling her that he thought Emily had divorced him. Hannah put that information aside, figuring it might come in handy someday. "That brings me to one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, Dylan." Hannah cut to the chase. "You've seen Emily. You know how beautiful she is. She graduated from college and got her teaching degree 2 years ago. She bought a small house. The kids at school adore her. I don't think she's been seeing anyone since you left. Is there any chance of you two getting back together? You were the perfect couple," Hannah stated with conviction. "I'm sorry, Hannah. That's not going to happen. We're very different people now than we were when we got married. We've gone our separate ways. There's nothing left between us," Dylan replied. "You've both changed, but for the better, at least in my opinion," Hannah argued. "I'm sure she still loves you, Dylan. What happened to make you leave? She must have told you something about it," Dylan reasoned. "She said it was her fault not once. She said you didn't agree on something with her and you left. She kept waiting for you to come back," Hannah added. "Well, now I'm back," Dylan offered with a faint smirk. "It just took me 6 years to do it." "What have you been doing while you've been away? You've obviously gained weight, and it's all muscle," Hannah remarked, looking at Dylan's arms and chest. Michael owned a large auto repair complex in Cedar Rapids. Caroline had a small office there doing bookkeeping. After she died, Michael expanded one section into a full automotive training center. We started offering evening classes for people wanting to learn auto mechanics. You probably won't believe this, but I became a certified automotive instructor and also taught self-defense classes on weekends for teenagers. When you left, you were only a semester away from getting your degree. Did you ever finish it? Hannah asked. Yes, I took night classes. I even got my teaching certificate. It looked good when I taught the automotive courses and self-defense classes. Michael and I both had degrees. I think it helped us seem more legitimate. Saying goodbye, Hannah hugged Dylan again. I really enjoyed our lunch. I'm sorry you're so determined not to go back to Emily, but I hope we can remain friends. I'd love to, Dylan replied. I always need friends. Say hello to your folks for me. Huh? Dylan, I'd advise you to avoid them. They're not very happy with the way your relationship with Emily has turned out, Hannah advised. That's not surprising, Dylan replied with a chuckle. Your parents have always been loyal to you girls. I don't blame them for disliking me. In fact, I'd be shocked if they didn't. The next morning, Emily felt better than ever. She hadn't realized how guilt and anxiety had defined her life for the past 6 years. She had made peace with Dylan and with herself. She wished desperately that she had never cheated on him and that Dylan still loved her. But she had to face reality and make the best of it. When Emily approached the practice court in the afternoon, she saw Sophia doing some stretching exercises and the other girls watching her. Soon they joined Sophia, or at least tried to. How can you bend over like that and keep your balance? One girl asked after she fell to the ground. It seems like you're defying gravity. My dad helped me learn my stretching routine. It's borrowed from both fitness training and martial arts. He could teach you, but I can't. I don't know where to start. I can do the stretching, but I don't know exactly how I got to this point, Sophia admitted. Your dad can do those stretches? An incredulous friend asked. I thought men couldn't bend as well as women, especially guys with muscles like your dad's. They can do it if they work at it, but most men don't want to put in the effort it requires. They prefer to do martial arts where they can punch and block, Sophia replied. Most of Dad's strength came from working on engines and lifting heavy parts, but the flexibility came from his fitness training. Maybe he can show us how to do those stretches, another girl suggested. I know he's working, but maybe after practice we could stay longer to learn. I don't know if Dad has the time. Besides, I don't think Coach would agree to that. She might think Daddy is meddling in her team's affairs. He's very careful when dealing with teenage girls. There has always been at least one adult present during the kids' sessions. Sophia, if Dylan wants to show these girls how to do stretches, I'll gladly stay and supervise, Emily interjected. I can see the other teams watching you girls do the stretches. We'll be in their heads before the match even starts. Dylan was surprised when he picked up Sophia the evening after practice. All the girls on the team, as well as Emily and several mothers, greeted him. Dad, the other girls have seen me do pre-game stretching and want to learn how to do it. I kind of told them that you're a fitness instructor and might want to practice with us after practice for a half hour or so. Emily watched Dylan's face soften as he listened to Sophia. He couldn't hide a smile as he listened to his daughter. She felt a pang of jealousy over the obvious love he felt for her. I guess I can, but I need at least one adult present at all times. That's non-negotiable, Dylan insisted. Sophia told us you need an adult. I already promised the girls that I would supervise the instruction. It's okay if I practice with the girls, Emily asked. Some of us moms would like to take advantage of the situation if you don't mind. I doubt I'll ever be able to do what Sophia does, but I could use any improvement, stated a slightly overweight woman with red hair. We'll start tomorrow. I will bring a change of clothes with me. I suggest you all dress appropriately for fitness training. I will be teaching a class for the girls. They are young and athletic, so they will probably progress faster. The moms shouldn't be upset if the kids advance quicker, Dylan warned. Dylan never once managed to keep his fitness instruction to less than an hour. The girls were already athletic and practiced hard to gain the grace and strength that Sophia displayed. 3 single moms were faithfully showing up to class. Emily had no doubt why they were so interested. Low-cut tops and tight workout pants created a look that few could ignore. For his part, Dylan liked working with the girls. He learned their names. He knew many of their families since he himself had grown up in Millbrook. Pleased him how seriously they took his instructions. Emily was very different. She always dressed more conservatively than the 3 mothers, but she looked amazing. She was very trim and surprisingly strong. She could master many positions as well as the girls, and some even better. She was never pushy or apologetic. She was always friendly yet professional. Before the 3rd game against a local rival, the girls began doing pre-game stretching. Sophia brought out a Bluetooth speaker and played music while she led her team's routine. Players and fans from the other schools stopped and watched in obvious amazement. The girls were happy that their performance brought the desired result. They had a solid victory over their opponent. After the game, Sophia approached Emily as her teammates clustered around their coach. "Coach, have you ever thought about entering the state regional basketball tournament?" Sophia began. "There are different age groups competing there. Our team fits perfectly in the 12 to 14 group. I think we could win it or at least perform well. I know about this tournament. Other coaches have mentioned it at seminars and practices," Emily admitted. "I understand the teams are made up of the best players from several schools. The competition is intense. There's also the issue of the entry fee. I think it's $500 per team, with the proceeds going to benefit the women's shelter in Harper. I'm sure the school board would never approve such an expense. Would you agree to coach us if we performed independently of the school and the entry fee was donated by a local business?" A very serious Sophia asked. Emily looked at Sophia, then at the other girls. It was obvious they wanted to get to the tournament and wanted her to be their coach. "You do realize that the opponents will be much tougher than the ones we play in our league, right? Every game will be practically against an all-star team," Emily remarked. "Coach, I played in this tournament last year," Sophia stated. "I was on the travel team. We won 2 games and they were unbelievable. In the 3rd game, we lost by 1 point to a team that ended up winning the tournament. I know our team is good enough to play them. We just need a good coach to make it work." "It sounds like you've already looked into the matter. You said you already have a sponsor?" Emily asked. "Yes, I've already talked to local businesses about it. They're willing to pay the entry fee and hotel rooms for the whole team and coaches. It's going to be over the Columbus Day long weekend. The championship game is on Monday, so we'll be there for 3 nights. After listening to Sophia's arguments, Emily felt her appreciation and even admiration for this lovely blonde girl. She was planning to play in the finals. Emily felt immense pride in the group of girls in front of her. They just didn't have the experience to play with the level of competition they could face, but Emily would never say that to her girls. "Let's do it," Emily agreed enthusiastically. "There's no better way to improve than to play against the best. Tell me what needs to be done, and I'll do it." "Thank you, Coach," the excited girls shouted in one voice. "Here's the website. I've written down your username and password. You have to go to the site and register us before midnight. They need 1 more team for a total of 6 teams, which is perfect for a single elimination tournament," Sophia explained. "The entry fee has already been paid." "Wow, you've got it all under control," Emily replied with a chuckle. "Our team is called the Millbrook Eagles," Sophia said. "We will have t-shirts with our names on the back and the team name on the front. It's going to be a lot of fun." "Dylan is sponsoring the team?" Emily asked once she was alone with Sophia. "Our sponsor prefers to remain anonymous," Sophia replied with a broad smile. "I can give you a clue. Our sponsor has insisted that you agree to coach us, or the deal is off. For some reason, our sponsor believes you are an excellent coach and a role model for us impressionable girls. Then Dylan will stay away, won't he?" Emily joked. Don't underestimate Dad, Sophia cautioned. He keeps a close eye on everything. He wants the best for me and for the whole team. Less than 2 weeks later, Sophia was leading their team warming up on a sunny Saturday morning in preparation for their first game. A surprisingly large number of people traveled from Millbrook to support the team. Dylan cheered as he watched Sophia maintain the smiles and laughter of the girls as they prepared for their first match. He noticed that the other team was watching the warm-ups closely. By now, the girls could perform stretches and poses more or less coherently, and it was impressive. The match started with the other team scoring a basket within the first minute of play. 2 minutes later, the same girl scored again. Emily was concerned about her team's ability to come back from the deficit. They hadn't lost a game all season and had won most by large margins. A short time later, play stopped as an opposing player was helped off the court with a sprained ankle. Emily pulled Sophia off the court and sent in a substitute. "Do you see what's going on out there? We have to stop that girl from scoring. She's making plays all over the court. I want her to be pressured when she gets the ball. Make sure the girls know to stay with her. I think she's their best player. We're going to contain her, and we can win." After that, the Millbrook Eagles settled down. They managed to keep the other team's best player from getting clean looks at the basket. The half ended with a 4-point deficit. "Girls, you all know how I try to emphasize team play. They know that Sophia is our top scorer, and they've been double-teaming her all half," Emily noted during halftime. "We really need the rest of you to step up. When Sophia draws 2 defenders, pass the ball to someone else. They are totally focused on Sophia. Take good shots when you're open. Their defense only had to guard a few real threats. Make them work." The Millbrook Eagles came out for the second half with a much more aggressive attitude. The girls started taking open shots and scored twice off assists when Sophia drew multiple defenders. With under a minute left in the game, Sophia drove to the basket and scored to give the Millbrook Eagles a 1-point lead. That was the final score. The Millbrook Eagles advanced to the next round. The girls were ecstatic. They hugged each other and Emily, and then hugged their fans. Emily saw Dylan enclose Sophia in a bear hug. As he lowered Sophia to the ground, one of the team moms hugged him and kissed him hard on the cheek. Emily was a little upset but realized she had nothing to complain about. She turned to go to one of her parents when she felt strong arms wrap around her. Suddenly she was in Dylan's arms. It had been almost 7 years since she had enjoyed this simple pleasure. The Dylan she was now pressed against was like steel. She was no small woman, but Dylan had no trouble sweeping her off her feet. "That was a great coaching job," praised Dylan. "Sophia told me you did a good job. Thanks for that and for treating the girls so well. Thank you for sponsoring us and getting us rooms," Emily replied as Dylan held her. "Some girls could never afford the trip and the rooms. It was very generous of you." "I'd do anything to make Sophia happy," Dylan admitted. "I never knew how deeply a man could feel for his daughter. She makes me feel alive. She wanted the other girls to have the experience she enjoyed last year, and she feels this team is better. She also thinks you are a much better coach," Dylan added. "Dad," Sophia shrieked. "You've got a death grip on our coach. If you don't want me to start calling her Coach Mom, you should probably put her down so the rest of us can hug her." "Oh, I'm sorry, Emily," Dylan apologized, gently bringing Emily back to her feet. "I got a little carried away." "I don't think she minded much," Sophia pointed out as Emily blushed. "You know, you already have a room. I understand her mother had the same sense of humor," Dylan explained, turning to look at Sophia. The whole team and most of the fans stayed behind to watch the next game. The next day, they were to face the winner of that game. Emily wanted her girls to learn as much as they could about their style of play. She knew they would have to give it their best to have any chance of winning. The next morning, Sophia shined, leading her team to a 65-58 victory. She scored 24 points, including several crucial three-pointers. The other team could not contain her speed and precise ball handling. The win allowed the Millbrook Eagles to advance to the semifinals, which took place in the afternoon. As it turned out, the semifinal game was against a travel team that Sophia had played with last year. Before the game, Sophia spoke briefly with the girls from the other team. It was obvious to the Millbrook Eagles and their fans that Sophia really liked her former teammates. It was also noticeable that Dylan Carter was popular with the team members as well as the adults who supported the team, especially the mothers. The court only had bleachers on one side, so fans of both teams were scattered everywhere. Several moms took the time to give Dylan a hug and wish him well. By the end of the game, Emily and the others had seen a different side of Dylan's nature. The tournament was a fundraiser. The referees were always local high school girls who played basketball for their school. Parents and coaches realized that although the girls were getting some compensation for their efforts, they were far from professionals. The game was tied at 52-52 when one of the referees mistakenly awarded the ball to the opposing team after it went out of bounds off a Millbrook player. A large man in his 30s suddenly stepped onto the court. Play stopped as the man was loudly berating the teenage referee. Both teams watched in stunned amazement as the man continued to shout threats and harsh words at the girl who had made the wrong call. Emily was already heading toward the man when she saw the poor girl suddenly burst into tears, run a few feet to the sideline, and hug Dylan. Dylan held her to his chest as the girl sobbed uncontrollably. At that moment, a woman in the bleachers made a statement that was heard by everyone present. Dylan Carter is going to handle this guy. Apparently, the rough man heard the statement as well. He stepped closer and turned to Dylan. I may have gotten a little carried away. I didn't mean anything by it. Apologize to Madison and then get out of here, Dylan said firmly, patting the girl on the back. These kids are doing a great job. They deserve our thanks and appreciation. They sure don't need some bully humiliating them. The man pondered Dylan's words, and then a woman's voice came from the bleachers again. You better take Dylan up on his offer, mister. He's close to handling you like you deserve. Emily managed to find the woman who had such faith in Dylan's ability to handle a large man. She was a short blonde woman in her 40s, dressed in jeans and a cotton shirt. Emily realized that she had earlier seen this woman offer a drink to the girl clinging so desperately to Dylan. She was probably the girl's mother. The big man made a decision. I apologize, miss. I overreacted. You girls are doing a great job of officiating. With those words, the man turned and headed toward the parking lot. Everyone watched as the girl in Dylan's arms gradually came to her senses. Dylan found a tissue in his pocket and held it out to her. The girl smiled at him, wiped her eyes, and stood on tiptoe and kissed Dylan on the cheek. Thank you, Dylan. I knew you'd stop that awful man, the girl praised. Mom was right when she said you were ready to handle his attitude. I could feel how tense you were. I'm just glad he didn't make you do anything more. The girl turned and trotted back onto the court while fans and players clapped and cheered her on. As soon as the applause stopped, the officials gathered to discuss how much time remained and who would have possession of the ball when play resumed. Madison went to Dylan's martial arts classes last year. Her mom explained, correctly understanding the questioning looks from other fans. She thinks Dylan is amazing, and I can't argue with that. No one can insult a young woman when Dylan is around. He just won't let that happen. Bradley Henderson is a pretty big guy. He's known to be willing to fight. I was afraid he would hurt Dylan, stated the mother of one of the Millbrook Eagles. Dylan Carter, Madison's mom asked in surprise. Have you ever seen him in action? I mean, Dylan would have handled that guy easily. Play finally resumed when the referees, with the help of the adults running the tournament, sorted out the situation. With less than a minute left in the game, Sophia quickly gained possession of the ball and drove toward the basket. She passed to a teammate cutting to the hoop, and the girl scored what turned out to be the winning basket. When the game was over, Sophia hugged most of the members of the losing team. Dylan was very proud of her sportsmanship. Madison's mother walked over to Dylan and hugged him as tightly as her daughter had. Madison knew she could count on you. She really does look up to you, Dylan. Her grades in school have improved, and she's going to go to a state college next fall. She wants to be a teacher. You really set her on the right path last year. Why did Bradley Henderson end up here? Asked one of the fathers of a Millbrook Eagle. Sarah is his niece. She's the one who scored the winning basket, the man's wife replied. She must be very embarrassed. The championship game was scheduled for the next morning. It was Columbus Day, and schools were closed due to the holiday. An award ceremony was scheduled to be held immediately after the game. The Millbrook Eagles had easily defeated the 3 teams they faced to reach the finals. The team was very talented and well prepared. Millbrook fans watched their girls raise their level of play at a very fast pace. With less than 3 minutes left in the championship game, a Sophia teammate was able to steal a pass from the other team. Sophia broke free, outran everyone, and scored a layup to tie the game at 61-61. Millbrook fans cheered Sophia's effort. Their cheers echoed around the gymnasium. The other team simply took their positions and prepared to continue the game. The Millbrook Eagles gave it their all, but their opponent proved to be very talented as they managed to score with just 15 seconds to go. For the remaining time, the Millbrook Eagles were unable to get a good shot and lost by a 2-point margin, 63-61. Emily watched with pride as her girls hugged and congratulated each other and the winning team. Parents and supporters of the girls came out onto the court to express their pride in their children's efforts. The award ceremony was only minutes away. Millbrook Eagles players and fans gave a long and loud applause when Emily came on stage to accept the second-place trophy. The top player from the winning team received the tournament MVP award. Sophia was called to the stage to receive the sportsmanship trophy, which she proudly displayed to her team and fans, holding it above her head and smiling broadly. When the ceremony was over and Sophia accepted Dylan's congratulations, she asked if she could ride home in the van with a few other girls. After talking to their parents and making sure they had room and were responsible drivers, Dylan agreed to her request. As he watched the van Sophia was riding in pull out of the parking lot, Dylan felt his hand being taken. She's a delightful girl, Dylan. You're doing a great job with her, Emily said. Seeing Dylan watching Sophia leave and deciding to talk to him, she thought that even if they were divorced, they should be able to have polite conversations at least. I have no idea how to raise a daughter, Dylan admitted. Women are a complete mystery to me. You've proven that. Dylan's remark hurt Emily, but she didn't let him realize it. Dylan, I was wrong. I have no defense or excuse. You were right to leave me. I know that. All I can ask is that we can talk to each other from time to time without insults and anger. You're right, Emily. I have no reason to dig into the past. You've done a great job coaching the girls. Sophia thinks very highly of you. She knows you could have been petty and made her presence on the team unbearable, but you didn't. We both thank you for that. I may have been a stupid fool when we got married, but I don't think I was ever a vindictive person, Emily stated calmly. I really like Sophia, and I hope to be friends with her after basketball season is over, if you'll let me. If you're afraid my lack of common sense and morals will be passed on to her, and you don't want me hanging out with her, I understand. I wish you would continue to be interested in her, Dylan replied. I wasn't trying to imply that you're not a good person. She needs some adult role models. You know, I'm not fit to be a teenage girl's guide. You seem to be just that. Everything I've seen and heard about you is good, Dylan stated. You forgot to add the qualifier, since you've been back in Millbrook, Emily replied. We both know you saw and heard something before you left that made me look bad, to say the least. I like to think I've learned from my mistakes. Your mom and dad are looking at us, Dylan remarked. They look like they're not happy with me. Yeah, it's on my conscience. I just couldn't tell them why you left, Emily admitted. Naturally, they blame you. They're good parents, Dylan replied. I wish you'd never told them. It wouldn't do you or them any good. Have a safe trip, and thank you for talking to me. I finally mastered my feelings of guilt and remorse. You're a good man, Dylan. A few minutes later, Emily headed home. Her parents were participating in a 3-day tournament and were returning with her. Emily was not surprised when her mother began to question her. So what did you and Dylan talk about? Patricia asked. Family, Emily replied. I complimented him on what a great job he's doing raising Sophia. He tried to brush off the praise. He told me what great parents I have. Did he say that before or after he saw us shooting daggers at him? Robert asked. Really, it was after he saw you looking at him, Emily replied. He's not stupid. He understands why you dislike him. He seems to think it's to your honor. I don't see how he can be so damned reasonable about anything except honoring his marriage. Emily's father grumbled. 3 days later, Emily sat down to dinner with her family in a depressed state. Hannah immediately noticed that Emily was in a bad mood. What's wrong, sis? You look depressed. Is it that obvious? Sarah Henderson came up to me after practice. She said her Uncle Bradley has a friend who works in the county where Dylan used to live. Apparently, when Dylan adopted Sophia, he claimed he was still married to me. Single men have a hard time adopting teenage girls. Bradley was furious about what happened at the tournament and denounced Dylan. He said Dylan lied on the paperwork and questioned whether he was a fit parent. There will be an investigation, and Dylan could lose Sophia. Sarah said that Sophia cried when she told her about it. I know Dylan. He won't give up on Sophia. He'll leave the country with her before he lets anyone separate them, Emily stated. He likes to run away when faced with a problem, Emily's father allowed. Emily, you're still married to him, Hannah announced. He told me he thinks you divorced him. You think he divorced you? None of you idiots have thought of filing for divorce. Divorces are filed and people get notices. You're just as married today as you were the day you walked out of the church after the ceremony. I don't see what difference it makes. Patricia brushed it off. He's still living as a single man with an adopted daughter, even though he lives with his mother. That's not exactly what he said. Emily, you need to call Dylan. He and Sophia can move in with you and be the family he promised the court, Hannah exclaimed. I won't stand for it, Patricia declared. You don't know him anymore. He could be aggressive or violent. Putting Emily in danger is not the answer. Mom, Dylan isn't cruel. He would never hurt me, Emily insisted. I'll go to him right now. Dylan sat at the kitchen table. A sobbing Sophia sat on his lap and cried into his shirt while his very distraught mother watched. The doorbell rang, and Margaret hurried to answer it. Dylan, can I talk to you and Sophia? Came Emily's voice from the doorway. Now is not a good time, Emily. Sophia and I are going on a trip, and we need to pack. I'll have Sophia call you from the road. Okay? You won't have to pack, or rather you will have to pack, but not for a long trip, Emily said softly. Please don't, Dylan replied impatiently. This doesn't concern you, except for your basketball team, and that's way down the list of things I'm worried about. Dylan, she's my daughter too. Sophia stopped sobbing and turned her red eyes to Emily. Margaret gasped at Emily's statement. She immediately sank back in her chair and stared at Emily. If you're trying to take Sophia away from me, you're in for one hell of a fight, Dylan growled. You have no right to call her your daughter. Dylan, I'm still your wife. The adoption papers say I'm her mother. I'm sure some of the papers have my signature on them. I want you and Sophia to move in with me. If you're under investigation, it'll be just like you told them. That will solve the problem, exclaimed a hopeful Margaret. You and Sophia would still live in town. Sophia would still go to the same school with her friends, and you could still help Nathan with the business. That might have worked until Emily decided she'd had enough of us, Dylan remarked. She can kick us out anytime she gets frustrated. If I leave the toilet seat up, she might throw me out. I can't risk Sophia getting hurt like that. Dylan Carter, you know damn well I wouldn't do that. I screwed up once, I admit it, but that doesn't define me as the person I am now. I'll put your name on the deed. Hell, I'll let you pay the damn mortgage if it makes you feel better. I love Sophia like a daughter. I'd be honored to be her mother. Dad, can we try? Sophia pleaded. Coach is a very nice person. She won't do anything bad to me or you. What are your options, Dylan? Flee to some country with no extradition? How does that work for most people? This isn't a movie. This is reality. You have a chance to give Sophia a stable home life and a chance to go to a good school with her friends. Do what's best for her, even if the mere thought of having me around makes you sick, Emily insisted. Dylan fell silent, thinking about the situation. When he came to a decision, he looked around. The three women were staring at him intently. Okay, was all he said. The three females squealed with delight. Sophia jumped up and rushed over to Emily. Dylan watched as they hugged tightly. Emily kissed the girl's forehead. He looked at his mother. Tears were streaming down her cheeks. Dylan wiped his eyes with the back of his hand and stood up. I hate to interrupt this celebration of love, but I think it's time for us to move. We don't know when the official visitors will be coming over, or if they will come at all, Dylan announced. We need to see your house and decide how things will work. Of course, Emily agreed. Why don't you follow me to my house right now so we can determine what we need? Can I go with Coach? I mean, Mom, Sophia asked. Mom, Dylan repeated. Of course. Why do I feel like I've lost control? You only have 2 bedrooms? Dylan remarked, looking around Emily's small house. I don't see how it can work. It's simple math, Sophia replied with a sly grin. 2 people share a room, and one gets a room to herself. I'm not going to share a room with you, Sophia, Dylan stated emphatically. Of course not, Sophia agreed. I'm not your wife. I'm a teenage girl, and I need my own room. You two are married, so cohabitation shouldn't be a problem. We started this charade to prove that we're a normal family, Dylan replied. Sleeping with Emily goes beyond a charade. Sleeping with her, but sleeping only with her, would still be a charade, Sophia teased. Is it really that hard? I'm standing right here, Emily interrupted. Sophia should have her own room. Dylan, you and I can share my bedroom. I have a double bed so you can keep your honor intact. I'll even give you 2 drawers and some space in my closet. Dylan and Sophia moved into the house before 11 o'clock that night. Emily was moved to tears when Sophia asked her a question before bedtime. Is it okay if I call you Mom? If it becomes a habit with me, it will seem natural if someone comes here to check on us, Sophia reasoned. If it bothers you, I won't do it. Honey, nothing will make me happier, Emily whispered as tears came to her eyes. What about school? What do I call you there? Sophia inquired. I'm going to be your mom anyway, so it'll be okay, Emily replied. I don't think that's a good idea, Dylan cautioned. We don't want to suddenly start acting different. We're trying to show that we've been a family for a long time. If Sophia called you Coach last week, I think she should continue to do that. I'll be the only one going home with my mom after practice, helping her cook dinner and cleaning the house, Sophia promised. I can't wait to be a part of a real family. Dylan was about to warn Sophia not to go too far in family matters when Emily caught his eye. She shook her head almost imperceptibly, but Dylan caught the meaning. Emily lay in bed watching Dylan as he came out of the bathroom and cautiously climbed under the covers. You sleep in pajamas now. You used to always sleep differently, Emily observed quietly. I try to be a gentleman since Sophia started living with me. I have a pair of pajamas to wear when I get up, Dylan explained. I won't call the police if you accidentally put your arm around me or hold me in the middle of the night, Emily replied. I know I seem repulsive to you now, but if you forget who I am in your sleep and act accordingly, I won't complain. Thank you, Emily. It's hardly a problem, Dylan assured her, turned onto his back, and fell asleep in a surprisingly short time. Dylan was an early riser. His internal clock woke him up at 5:30 in the morning. He noted that he was still lying on his side of the bed, so she must have moved during the night. The next evening after basketball practice, Emily stopped by her mother's house. Sophia walked through the door following her and stood before Patricia. "Your daughter is my mom now. Is it okay if I call you Grandma?" Patricia was determined to show Emily and Sophia her disapproval of the whole charade, but her resolve dissolved when Sophia made her request. "Of course you can," Patricia exclaimed, gently hugging the girl. "Would you like some milk and cookies? I just made some." "So Mom's heart has melted already?" Hannah joked, walking into the kitchen and hugging Sophia. "I'm your Aunt Hannah, and you're my favorite niece, Sophia. We're going to have so much fun." "I'm getting a new grandmother and aunt," Sophia replied with a huge smile. "Hopefully, we'll get to spend more time with all of you. Dad knows Grandma doesn't like him very much, so we'll have to get together when he's working." "Well, I really like your dad," Hannah replied. "He's a very handsome man. How do he and your mom get along?" "Okay, I guess." They spent half an hour working out their rules of behavior in the bedroom. "I don't exactly have a normal family, at least not yet," Sophia added meaningfully. "Ah, do you think there's a chance?" Hannah asked. "Well, Daddy's quite the gentleman, and Mom looks like a model, only with more curves, so I don't think he has much of a chance," Sophia admitted as Emily blushed deeply. "You're not thinking of going back to Dylan for good, are you?" Patricia demanded. "That's not the point, is it, Mom? I came by to ask about some of your recipes, not to give you a lecture on how to handle my husband and daughter," Emily immediately objected. "I don't know how things will turn out. Dylan doesn't really like me right now, so you can take comfort in that." Dylan entered Emily's house shortly after she and Sophia had started dinner. He looked around and then went out the back door with a notebook and measuring tape. Once dinner was over, Dylan talked about what was on his mind. "Emily, I want to make an addition to this house. I was thinking we could add another 26 feet by 14 feet. That would give you a large bedroom with a large bath and a huge walk-in closet, as well as a half bath for guests. Can I show you what I'm thinking?" "That sounds great, Dylan, but I can't afford it, so there's no point in even discussing it. I've had trouble with my mortgage several times already," Emily replied. "I'm willing to pay for it if you'll let me," Dylan said. "You're making a huge sacrifice for Sophia and me. I'll feel much better if you'll let me do it. It will increase your property value and give us a lot more room." "Is sleeping with me really that bad?" Emily asked, trying to keep her composure. "Does just looking at me make you sick?" "No, it's not that. We don't need to be cramped up like this. We'll still live in the master bedroom, but we'll be much more comfortable, and we'll have more closet space," Dylan said. "I'll agree to this if you promise to sleep with me the whole time we live together," Emily demanded. "Agree or leave." Dylan looked at Emily's jaw and realized she was being serious. Glancing at Sophia, he saw that she was making a weak attempt to hide a smirk. Shrugging, Dylan said to both women, "We have a deal." The basketball team remained undefeated in the league as the season was coming to an end. Dylan overheard Emily talking to Sophia about volleyball. By the end of the conversation, Emily had a new recruit for the team. Dylan couldn't help but notice how close Sophia and Emily had become. They joked around, went shopping, cooked meals, and played team sports together. Sophia was as happy as he had ever seen her. His relationship with Emily was complicated. Emily respected his boundaries and remained friendly but not romantic or intrusive. She never expressed negativity about the work that was being done on her house. The first week after moving in, Dylan brought a backhoe to the site. Living in a mild climate allowed work to continue until late fall. The house was scheduled to be completed by Christmas. Sophia and Emily were excited about the expansion and the fact that they would each have more closet space. Sophia was going to move into Emily's old bedroom, so that she would have a separate bathroom and a large enough closet for clothes and accessories. Dylan and Emily often discussed how they would respond to any agency that came to their home with questions about Sophia and the family arrangement. They developed a plan that they both strongly supported. As time went on, they began to wonder if anyone was even going to interview them or if it was all overblown in their imaginations. The sleeping arrangements remained the same. Neither Emily nor Dylan ever went to bed without pajamas. Dylan stopped worrying about waking up with one or both of Emily's arms around him or him pressing himself against her. She never mentioned it, so he figured it wasn't a problem. He was lying in bed one night thinking about the proposal he was about to make when he felt Emily tense up. He was surprised when she reached out and placed her hand on his chest. She let out a satisfied sigh and fell into a deep sleep. 2 days before Thanksgiving, Emily and Sophia came home from school and caught Dylan in the driveway in deep conversation with a blonde woman. They continued to talk as Emily pulled into the garage. A few minutes later, Dylan walked into the house. Sophia was in her room, and Dylan walked over to Emily. "That was Jessica Morrison," Dylan remarked casually, watching Emily's reaction. Emily tensed, leaning over the sink. Dylan saw her flinch as she whispered the question. "What did she want, Dylan? Was she angry? What did she say to you?" "Her husband Tyler has a brain tumor. He's dying, and she asked if I would visit him," Dylan revealed. "Don't do it. He wants to hurt you. Dylan, don't let him. Please don't let him," Emily begged. "I told her I would, even if it was just to watch him die," Dylan replied. "I'd like to hear what he has to say. He'll tell you lies about me. He'll probably try to say it wasn't just the one time you caught us. That I'm a terrible person. He'll laugh in your face. He's mean. It's my fault. I should have known better, but if he was a real man, he would never go after a married woman," Emily reasoned. "Why did you sleep with him then? You didn't look like a woman in distress that night," Dylan recalled. "In fact, you kept saying his name over and over and telling him how good he was. I was crushed. I decided it was better to just walk out the back door and drive away. I don't know why I did it," Emily sobbed. "He was the big man on campus. He was a senior and I was a sophomore. He was a basketball star and I was just a married woman who was unavailable to most men, but not to him. He was smooth. I knew what he wanted, and for some damn foolish reason, I figured I could handle him and you'd never know. It was my only affair. I ruined my life. I lost what I loved because I was young and stupid. I never blamed you for leaving. When I found your ring on the kitchen table, I knew it was over, that you must have come home and seen me with him. Now I'm living in a hell of my own making. I love Sophia, but we're not family, not really. I can't make it up to you. I know that. We will never have the love that binds us together like a family should. It's completely my fault, and I live with that knowledge every day. Why didn't you tell me you weren't happy or wanted to try other men?" Dylan asked softly. "I didn't want to try other men. I just wanted to feel like something special for one night. The college basketball star wanted me. The irony is how much smarter I became after you left. You became better looking, kinder, completely devoted to me. You became a better man in every way that mattered. Believe it or not, that was the last time I was with someone," Emily declared. "You are still the only man who has ever made love to me. I guess I can be grateful to you for that. I now know the difference between love and it's huge. I don't think I'll ever forget the time I rushed home from work early to surprise you and found that someone had taken my place," Dylan replied sadly. "You almost destroyed me, Emily. I was willing to give my life for you, and you almost took it. Just because you apologize doesn't make up for the pain I've endured for 6 years. I know that, Dylan. I really do. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I don't deserve it. You're not the kind of man to overlook the tremendous disrespect I've shown you," Emily reasoned. "I too have suffered for my stupidity. I'm in a sham marriage to a wonderful man and a beautiful daughter. Think how painful it is to realize that I had it all and squandered it all. Every time I look at you or Sophia, I am reminded of how stupid I was. Over time, the pain has not lessened. In fact, it has gotten worse as my love for you and Sophia has grown. You can never love me again, and I can't be Sophia's mother if you don't. I realize that. I'm just trying to enjoy every day we spend together. I know it's going to end, and probably soon, Emily admitted. Every night when we go to bed, I lie there and hope that you will touch me, kiss me, make love to me, but it never happens. It's not hard for you to resist me, Emily sadly stated. You just put up with me. It's my fault. Most men wouldn't resist me so easily, but the one I want shows no interest. Life's ironic like that. In early December, Dylan walked into a local hospital and asked to see Tyler Morrison. He was not prepared for what he saw when he entered the man's room. The man lying on the bed looked like he weighed 100 pounds. He looked like a skeleton with skin stretched over it. Dylan, thanks for stopping by. If you want to hit me or even strangle me, feel free. I deserve it, the sick man said in greeting. I just came by to make sure you know how happy I am that you're dying, Dylan said. If you look closely, you can see the smile on my face. That's one of the reasons I told my wife I wanted to see you. I thought my suffering would make you feel better, the patient admitted. It makes me feel good to know that I am making amends, even if I have to die to do it. You're talking nonsense, Dylan replied. No one wants to suffer, and no one wants someone else to enjoy seeing it. What the hell do you really want? I did you wrong, Dylan. I spent most of my life being terrible to people. You caught me with your wife, but you didn't hurt me like you wanted to. When I came downstairs, I saw an old shotgun leaning against the wall. Emily only saw your ring on the table. To this day, I've never seen a man in as much pain as you were that night. I owe you, and I have no way to pay you back. My life isn't worth a damn. You can see that. The only thing left for me to do is die. That's gonna happen whether you're here or not. I'm just offering you a chance to watch me die. It may bring you comfort, and it won't hurt me in the slightest, Tyler concluded. How will your wife feel about that? Dylan asked. I think it's pretty grim. I told her what I did to you and Emily. She understands that I want to do something to ease my conscience. My death won't bring me forgiveness, but it will make you feel better, so she agrees. I would ask you not to applaud when death takes me away. It will hurt Jessica, and she doesn't deserve that. Why did you do it, Tyler? You had plenty of girls. Emily was everything I ever had or wanted, and you ruined it. Dylan growled at the sick man. Because I was terrible, Tyler admitted. Because I could. How the hell can that be the reason? It wasn't until I met Jessica that I realized how terrible I was, Tyler admitted. I didn't care that your marriage broke up. Emily meant nothing to me. That's how worthless I was. I'm ashamed to admit it. It wasn't personal? Dylan asked. You weren't trying to ruin my life or keep us apart for some reason. I've always wondered why you needed a married woman when you had so many available. I hardly knew who you were. I didn't think about you, just that I was entertaining some guy's wife, Tyler admitted. She's a beautiful woman. That's all she was to me. A little married wife on the side. If you weren't so sick, I'd beat you senseless, Dylan threatened. If I wasn't so sick, I'd want you to do just that, Tyler replied. I've grown up really a little late. There's no excuse for my actions. I realize that now. A bullet between the eyes would have been too good for me. You miserable bastard, Dylan snarled. I'd be doing the whole world a favor if I held this pillow over your face. True, but then you'd be in a lot of trouble. Ending a dying person's life is considered just as much of a crime as ending a healthy person's life, Tyler reasoned. Why don't you just come in here when you get a chance? It's quite possible you'll see me take my last breath. Dylan had never been as angry as he was at this moment. This guy had ruined his marriage simply because he wanted to sleep with someone else's wife. To Dylan, Emily was the perfect wife. A woman devoted to him and willing to share the rest of her life with him. And then Tyler Morrison decided he wanted a taste of another man's wife. "I guess I'll take you up on your offer," Dylan replied firmly. "I'll be celebrating your death in a few days, you bastard." Dylan was true to his word. He visited Tyler Morrison several times a week, though he didn't tell Emily or Sophia about it. He knew his intentions were unhealthy at best. When Dylan stopped by for the third time, Tyler's wife Jessica was there with a little boy. Dylan nodded to the woman and sat down in the chair but soon rose and left the room. It was impossible to find satisfaction in the death of even the most vile man while his wife and young son were nearby. Dylan vowed to himself that he would not stop watching Tyler die. He deserved exactly what he got. The next time Dylan walked in on him, Tyler was in a pensive mood. "You left because my wife and child were here, didn't you? It's hard to find satisfaction in my death when you see innocent people suffering from it, isn't it? I'm here to see you die." "I have no disagreement with your family," Dylan replied. Even as he spoke, Dylan realized he sounded pathetic. Was he really that kind of person? Tyler began to tell Dylan about his son and what the boy liked. Then he went into detail about how he had met his wife and how she had turned his life around. Dylan was well aware that Tyler was trying to gain sympathy. He also knew it was never going to work. Dylan stopped by to see Tyler on Christmas Eve. Since Dylan had first seen him, Tyler had weakened considerably. This time, Dylan had a purpose and he quickly got to the point. "Tyler, I hate what you did, but I can't keep my hatred for you. I've thought it over and realized that the best revenge is to live well. I'm here to tell you that I will make sure your wife and son will never need help. You will die knowing that the man whose life you ruined is taking care of your family." "I can see why you think you're getting revenge that way," Tyler replied weakly. "You're not really good at revenge. I hate that I did that to you and Emily, but it somehow turned out to be a benefit to my family. It's ironic. A despicable act secures the future of my wife and child." "That's the best I could come up with," Dylan offered. "I won't come again. I don't want to see you die or even suffer. There's no satisfaction in that. It doesn't give me any pleasure. You do realize you're practically telling me you forgive me, don't you?" Tyler replied. "You found the strength in your heart to endure what I did to you. Something no man can forgive. I didn't say that, but you can think what you want." "I really don't care," Dylan replied. "Tell me this, Dylan. I've hurt you in ways you can't bear. How can you forgive a miserable person like me and yet not find the strength to forgive a woman who loves you the way Emily does? What have I done to earn your forgiveness that she hasn't? I saw the relief on your face when you abandoned your hatred for me. Imagine how good it will feel if you forgive Emily. Imagine having her in your arms, maybe having your children. Wouldn't that be better than punishing her?" "Forget you, Tyler. You're the one who said I forgave you. I never said that." "Not in so many words, but you said it, Dylan," Tyler replied softly. "I'm going to die soon. I'll die happy knowing that you were able to grant me forgiveness and you'll take care of Jessica and Charlie. You're very bad at revenge, Dylan. It's not your strong suit. If I never see you again, please give Emily my apologies." Dylan left the hospital furious. The dying man thought he'd been forgiven. He wanted Dylan to forgive Emily. When that happened, hell would freeze over. As Dylan drove, he thought back to his last conversation with Tyler Morrison. The man had gotten to him. Dylan had to admit it. He shouldn't have gone to the hospital that first time. When Dylan got home, his driveway was clogged with cars. He had to drive down the street 100 yards to find a parking space. He had completely forgotten about the party Sophia and Emily were throwing. It was a Christmas party. The addition had been finished 2 days ago, and the furniture, including the huge king-size bed, had been brought in yesterday. All of Emily's friends, family, and coworkers were invited. Sophia asked many of her friends to stop by for a visit. He was still furious at the last words he'd said to Tyler when he pushed open the door and stepped inside. The guests turned at his appearance and suddenly fell silent. Emily and Sophia were serving drinks and appetizers when Dylan entered the living room. It was immediately obvious that he wasn't himself. Emily had never known him to drink much, but she considered the possibility as Dylan circled the room with his eyes. As soon as his gaze fell on her, he stopped moving. "Oh," muttered Sophia, realizing that her father was in a state she had never seen before. Dylan finally took a few steps deeper into the room, but his gaze never left Emily. The silence continued as everyone watched the intensity of emotion on Dylan's face, mesmerized. "What's wrong, Dylan?" Emily asked anxiously. "Do you really want to be my wife?" Dylan demanded. Yes, I do," Emily replied quietly. "A wife gives her husband all her love. She belongs to him, only to him." Emily's father tried to intervene, but Hannah quickly stopped him with a hand gesture. "I agree," Emily said as tears came to her eyes. "A husband takes care of his family. He gives them everything he has. He deserves respect," Dylan said firmly. Emily just nodded, completely oblivious to everyone watching her exchange with Dylan. A good wife won't complain if her husband needs her, including right now in that big new bed. Not if he loved her and she loved him, Emily agreed. "Right?" Dylan said, scooping Emily up into his arms in a quick motion. "Sophia, close the door behind us. Okay?" "Okay, Daddy," Sophia replied immediately, closing the bedroom door. "I'll be entertaining guests, so don't rush out on account of them." "What just happened?" Emily's mother asked. "Is Emily going to be okay?" "Oh yes," Hannah said with a laugh. "Emily is going to be all right for the first time in years." Only half an hour had passed when Dylan and Emily emerged from the bedroom. They had showered and put on different clothes. Emily stayed close to Dylan as their company began to banter gently. "That didn't take long," remarked one of Dylan's equipment operators. "I hope the boss had time to finish the job." "He did very well. Thanks for asking," Emily replied and gave Dylan a quick kiss on the cheek. "Dylan, I don't pretend to know what happened between you and my daughter, but her mother and I are damn glad things are better now," Emily's father stated, holding out his hand. "Just don't do it again." Shaking his father-in-law's hand, Dylan glanced at Emily before answering. "I don't think that can happen. Emily and I will be together from now on. Come to think of it, it was my idea for you two to live together so that Sophia's adoption wouldn't be challenged. Funny how nothing ever came of that threat," Hannah remarked. "I was interviewed at school a few days later," admitted a grinning Sophia. "I told them we had a great family. Mom and Dad loved me and each other. I knew they would realize that sooner or later. I didn't tell anyone about it because I wanted us to stay together. Because of that, we moved in with my mom." "Why were you so emotional when you got home, Dylan?" his curious mom asked him. "I guess I was trying to determine exactly who I was hurting and why. Eventually, I realized that the pain caused by revenge is mostly self-inflicted. I needed to treat myself better. Emily will have to suffer with me for the rest of our lives." Thank you for your viewing. See you next time. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to JK Tells a Story for more tales.